What's up, everybody? Aaron the Dog here with MMA Wagers and a special guest, MMA Bellator Light Heavyweight contender Julius Anglickas. We are joined. We've been working on this for a little while. I've been promoting this for a little while. We're the only ones doing this for some reason. The Bellator Light Heavyweight Grand Prix starts tomorrow on Friday, and no one wants to break down this incredible Grand Prix. That was good enough not to have a 9-1 Julius in it, which we'll get to, but. Yeah, without any further ado, MMA Wagers, Brandon here with me. He's been joining me for the LFA breakdowns, which if you're not joining us for those, I don't know why you're throwing away free money. We're literally 19 of our last 21 picks. We got an LFA light heavyweight former champ here in Julius. We know what champs in LFA mean. It's not a paper title like some of these other organizations for sure. So Julius, 2-0, Bellator light heavyweight contender, in my opinion. How you doing, man? Anglickas. I know how to say your last name. Hold on, we're not hearing you right now. So you can just, we got no audio. So you can unplug your mic and we'll just work with that. Still nothing.
Oh, it should work now. No.
Go ahead and jump out and just jump right back in. But all right, so just
Is my audio okay?
Your audio is fine.
Okay.
Just rejoin the StreamYard link, Julius, and we'll get this started. No worries. So just drop out and drop back in. So, all right, we'll have Julius on in 1 second. But man, I've been super pumped. First of all, we're seeing the end of this featherweight title Grand Prix. We'll talk about that. I think Bellator needs to keep doing these for sure. It's a way of separating themselves out. And we got the two best guys at the end of the day. With the featherweight Grand Prix, we got AJ McKee taking on Pitbull.
Worked out perfectly.
I think this is going to be a little more chaotic with the light heavyweight. Let's see with Julius. Hey, Julius.
Fingers crossed.
Go ahead, unmute yourself.
You guys hear me?
Buddy. Yes.
You sound lovely. Yeah,
yes.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, no worries. Hey, this is how we do here.
Live TV, buddy.
we got David joining along from Fight Bananas. So money. What up, Zach? Coffee and KO is giving me the platform here to be able to do this show. Shout out to MMA Wagers, Brandon, for reaching out to Julius. But Julius, as I was saying, former LFA light heavyweight champion. We know what LFA champions mean. That is one of the most legitimate organizations outside of the Big Four, I guess you could say at this point. I think it's kind of stupid to even look at it as that level, but it's how, sports is. 2-0 in Bellator, knocking off two undefeated legit prospects. Alex Polizzi, I believe, in the last fight, which pushed you in every way. But without further ado, man, thank you for joining us. You just got fight news. You have a fight next week. Tell us about what's going on.
Just excited to be back on. I didn't know why we're just now announcing it. I wish I could have had a little bit more time to promote it, but I mean, I guess they had like few shows back to back, so it's whatever. People still gonna watch it. Super excited to get back in it, and it wasn't like a year wait like I had for my last fight, my first Bellator fight, and then I had to wait literally exactly a year for my second one. So this one came kind of quick. So back in business.
Yeah, such is life, as coming off of you've been on, obviously the regional scene, fighting out of St. Charles MMA. 9-1. People should be familiar with you, if from nowhere else besides the last two Bellator performances, which you should definitely go back and check those. Really important performances, in my opinion, especially the Polizzi fight with how much it pushed you, both in the wrestling and just overall the change of the pace, showing you can go that full 15 minutes. Contender Series alum, I know you're probably sick of hearing that at this point because it's just they didn't take you, so it's like whatever. Like the UFC, and especially after this last season, if you were on this last season of the Contender Series, they were taking pretty much anybody who won, it seemed like. And especially if you got a finish, you were definitely getting taken. It's like I don't know if you were even really following along with that, but we break down every single Contender Series bout as well. So it's like, and I actually remember breaking down your bout a couple years ago, and yeah, that was a nice little cash for us because you were like a minus 110 favorite in that fight. Several of these fights, I don't know if you bet or not, but or if you even pay attention to the odds, but several of these fights, the odds makers keep falling for the hype, and you're not the hype train because you just go in there and perform and don't talk a lot. So these guys with these big 8-0 records, 7-0 records are being favorites over you. And then I'm just cashing with the Lithuanian Terminator. That's what I call you. I know you don't have a nickname, but I'm telling you, man, you're like a Terminator, and you're just like this bald, just no emotion, just moves forward and surprises people with his length. Definitely a legitimate light heavyweight. We'll be talking about one or two light heavyweights in this Grand Prix who I'm not sure if they're even quite light heavyweights. So that's definitely a huge advantage for you. And I mentioned this off air, but you fighting next week with 2 more fights in the light heavyweight Grand Prix. If one of those fighters is not able to make weight, if there's some sort of shenanigans that happen, you're going to be in this light heavyweight Grand Prix. I don't know if they've said that or not, but I think that is clearly why you're being put on here, along with keeping you active. But I think that's a big part of that. Is that playing any sort of factor in your preparation here? Go ahead. I think we're having a little bit of connectivity issues again.
Can you guys hear me?
Buffering.
Oh yeah, just repeat the question.
Yeah. So what I was asking, you're just like kind of buffering in and out right now. So yeah, you're a little bit choppy. It might be where you're sitting. Yep. You with me? So a little bit choppy.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So my question was, obviously, yeah, you're still a little bit choppy here.
He's smiling.
So, yeah, you're smiling. Again, just
drop out, drop back. Too.
Yeah, drop out and drop back in. We're just gonna keep working with this as we go here. No worries. It's an internet thing. We can only do so much with. So just that's the best we can do. Yeah. But yeah. Super excited to have him on here.
Yeah, and his opponent next week is 12-6. I think this, like, I don't want to call him an easy opponent, but Julius should have his way with this guy coming off Alex Polizzi, who was undefeated. He took his O. He was 7-0, so he took Alex
7-0 and very hyped. Jordan Young as well, 11-0.
Yeah, and he's in the UFC, isn't he?
Yeah, Jordan Young, not.
Oh no. Okay.
Hey, Julius, how you doing? Oh man, we're still dealing with a little bit of the internet issues.
I'm back.
So,
you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yep.
You? Nice. Yeah.
Still choppy.
So what was the question? I was ready to answer.
Yeah, no problem. So what I was asking, with your preparation here with the 12-6 opponent, after having kind of your last 3 of 4 being undefeated, 4 of 5 being pretty high level opponents, you have a 12-6 guy you're preparing for, but also I think there's a very good likeliness you're being put on here as an alternate for the tournament in case there's an issue with either of the 4 competitors fighting next week and the light heavyweight tournament. So is that playing a factor in your preparation here with your coaches? What are your thoughts kind of overall as being kind of the unofficial alternate here?
I think I'm like 3 seconds delayed, first of all. But yes, we're just kind of getting ready for the long term. And yes, we're preparing always for the next opponent. But as long as you just do everything right and try to create good, that's just going to get you ready, of course, for later fights as well. So we just try to make everything good and think long term, and for the next fight maybe just like 1 or 2 things will maybe slightly different, but we just try to get better.
Yeah, for sure. And with regards to before we jump into the Grand Prix, do you view yourself on the level of these 8 opponents who are selected for the Grand Prix? If you were to be put in with any of the 8 right now, do you feel you would be ready to compete with them and win?
I think I could. I mean, they definitely have experience. Like, a lot of them have more experience over me. But when it comes to, like, it's a tricky question because I always tend to give my opponents more credit. Always. Like, I always give my opponents credit more than I probably should, just so I could look at the fight more seriously and so I could fight to my maximum ability. Because I don't know, I don't understand why they'll say, like, oh, my opponent sucks, not good at this, sucks at that, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you can't be saying any of those things because, no, like, everyone's good. And, yeah, if you think that, then it's going to catch you by surprise. So it's like me, even probably from 10 years from now, I'm always going to be thinking that I'm fighting one. So, like, this guy's good, this guy's a big deal, even though I probably would kill them. It's, I don't know, I feel it's just like a safe zone to always give my opponents much, much more credit. To answer the question, yeah, I guess I could compete with it. But at the same time, there is a reason why I'm just the alternate and not in the tournament. Just because I'm still new game. Everybody has just so much more fights than me. So I guess they're just waiting for me to get a few more just to make sure that my last 2 weren't a fluke. Like, I performed good, but okay, can Julius keep performing the same way in a few more fights? Or did he just felt good in the last 2? So yeah, I'm just cautious and gonna get this fight through. If I perform in this one just like how we did in the last 2, then with a pretty good confidence, I could say that yes, hang rest of the guys.
Yeah, well, I will be the first to agree with you. I've been looking into your work for quite a while now. I followed LFA very closely. I remember breaking down your fight on the Contender Series and both your fights in Bellator. So we're doing a Bellator breakdown right after this tournament preview. So we break down all these fights. Bellator, now that they're on Showtime, I'm feeling like they are taking that next step up as a promotion. You're looking at overall, Bellator prelims used to kind of have a little bit of a stigma to them, where it was like, oh, Bellator prelims, like, we don't know what we're getting here. And now the Bellator prelims are having 17-1 guys who've beaten Peter Yan on them. And I mean, the Russians are coming, I mean, everywhere, and Bellator especially, and the Lithuanians, all these crazy Europeans. Bellator seems to have less of a problem signing them than the UFC, at least at this point. So, you know, it's interesting.
I just had one question for Julius. Did you watch your fellow countryman fight Modestas Bukauskas in the UFC 2 weeks ago?
I didn't get to.
It was a very
actually fight. I watched the next day. I watched the highlights, and like, he looked good. Yeah, like, he looked really good, and from what I understood, like, he got robbed. Did he? I don't know if that was the case, because I didn't watch the full fight. I only saw like pieces of it from most of a lot of people. But it was close. Just either way, it could have went.
Yeah, very good fight.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was close. And I do, you know, we won't make this too much about the UFC. I know that you wanted to be the first Lithuanian to represent in the UFC. And I do think they got it wrong, because I think they picked a kickboxer instead of an MMA fighter in yourself. I think that's one of the best strengths that you bring to this game, is that you are good everywhere, and people can't get comfortable with you. You out-wrestled Alex Polizzi, and Alex Polizzi came in as one of the most hyped wrestlers I can remember in Bellator. And when he shot in the second round and you sprawled, there was a part of him that was defeated right there. And I know you were going as hard as you could, especially in the wrestling. It definitely showed. I mean, like, like, you could see the full effort every time the grappling became part of it. But the fact that you're able to take the fight wherever it goes so easily and so quickly, that's the part that even as we break down this Grand Prix, I'm not seeing in too many of the competitors in the Grand Prix where you can really say they're really balanced overall. We got like a Phil Davis who just has to wrestle. If he can't wrestle, it doesn't go well. I would say Nemkov is the closest to reminding me of how you fight for sure, and that's the champion. I mean, that's kind of what we want to go with. The rest of these guys, though, I do find you more well-rounded than. So if it's all right with you, if you're hanging in there, we'd love for you to join us for kind of the preview here as we go. If it's kind of hard with delay, we can always reconvene at another time and have you back on. I don't want, I know you're getting ready for a fight and everything. We want to make sure the product's good and we want to make sure that we're not waiting 10 seconds. But if you want to join us, just kind of give me a thumbs up. Let me know what you're thinking.
Yeah, let's do it. I don't think delay is too bad at all. So yeah, let's hop in it.
Sweet. All right. So we're gonna just hop in here. This is gonna be a really kind of just interest for one. I noticed nobody was doing this, which I don't understand again. But MMA fans turn into UFC only fans, and it's whatever. I mean, I watch these fights, and I'm here to break down multiple champions. I think this is a really interesting Grand Prix. We're going to start in the top left corner, work our way around to Nemkov and Phil Davis as our last one, and then kind of prognosticate out a little bit, make some predictions. But we're going to start with Ryan Bader versus Lyoto Machida. This is a rematch from the UFC. Lyoto Machida absolutely schooled Ryan Bader when they fought. Ryan Bader just came in reckless, ran right into that straight right from Machida. That was in the Machida era, definitely a different time now. But I think this is a really interesting fight. I love that they did a couple of rematches, first of all, in this first round of this tournament. I love rematches. This is a rematch 9 years in the making. So, yeah, a lot's changed for sure. But I do think that it's been a little bit of a tale of two different hypes here. We got Ryan Bader, who built a lot of his hype in Bellator off of beating some older fighters, beating Fedor Emelianenko, which I don't really know what Fedor wins in Bellator mean at this point. With all due respect to Fedor, I just don't know what it means. Bader definitely helped reinvent himself in Bellator. He became a two division champion before losing to Nemkov. But Nemkov really did look very good, and it did look like Bader splitting himself between two divisions is starting to maybe be a little bit tougher for him. I'm wondering at this point in his career, he's 37 years old, how easy getting to 205 is and how much of him is being taken out from this weight cut. He looked pretty good at heavyweight, and that's kind of my main question with this one. And also, it's just Lyoto Machida knows how to beat Ryan Bader. I don't believe what he did in that fight he couldn't exactly replicate at this point still, because it was a lot of tactical footwork and whatnot. We know Lyoto Machida's had a couple close split decisions in his last two in Bellator, so I think that scares people away a little bit. But again, these were close fights. I think this is going to be another close fight. And I'm frankly leaning towards Lyoto Machida to get another decision, actually. I think this would be a big upset in the first round from an odds perspective. So, we'll leave with Julius last. So, Brandon, what are your thoughts on this? And then tip it over to Julius.
Yeah, this is the first fight in the light heavyweight Grand Prix, kicking off in just a couple days, Friday night. This is a rematch. Lyoto got the counter. I think Ryan Bader got false confidence in his striking because he did come off a couple knockout victories. And that's the wrong fighter you want to test your hands with, is Lyoto Machida in his prime, because you're going to get countered and it's going to hurt. And I think the rematch, I think the first fight was 7 or 8 years ago at this point. It was a long time ago. Lyoto's 43, coming up to 43 years old. Ryan's getting up there, 237. I think Ryan's going to want to get his revenge here. If he's smart, he's going to get the double leg. I know Lyoto's really elusive, but everybody knows that at this point. Yeah, he should shoot in, slow the fight down, ground and pound. I remember Lyoto losing by ground and pound really badly. I think it might have been Yoel Romero got him in the third round. Really nasty ground and pound. So if Ryan Bader can implement that same game plan, I have him winning, but you cannot count Lyoto Machida's countering abilities out here. What do you think, Julius?
Yeah, I kind of choosing
Mhm.
Vader also for that one. I mean, it could go either way. I don't know. I feel like if I would have to put my money on it, it would be Vader.
Yeah,
this time.
absolutely. What are the odds, by the way?
For exactly
Yeah,
all
so
those
this is-
reasons.
Yeah, I mean, the bigger, stronger, younger Bader still, and Bader, I think that he's got to know if he comes in and does the same game plan as he did 9 years ago in 2012, then I'm very, very concerned for Ryan Bader's coaching staff, because like that just can't be the way he comes into this fight. Yeah, I think I might be getting a little bit tempted by the odds. We got plus 250 on Lyoto Machida, a minus 300 on Ryan Bader. So that's, you got to put $300 down on Bader to win 100. I got to put 100 down to win 250 on Lyoto Machida. I get he's 43, but he's not cutting any weight here. I think the footwork is still there. He's still competing with these guys like Phil Davis and whatnot, getting to split decisions.
Yeah.
I just think the price is right to take a shot on the dog here in Machida.
Yeah, if a fighter represented split decision, it's Lyoto Machida. He is involved in so many split decisions.
Yeah.
He has four split decision wins. So say those went the other way, his record would not look as great, let me tell you. But
No.
the judges don't really know what they're looking at when they watch a Lyoto Machida fight. It's like his opponent, his counter opponent is winning, but then all of a sudden Lyoto lands something that knocks his opponent down. And does the judge consider the 4 minutes of dominance or the 1 minute of getting knocked down, like knocking his opponent down? So it makes the judge's job kind of difficult. But I'm really excited for this fight.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think this is a great way to kick it off. And I'm 2-1 on the first fight. You know.
By the way, are all these fights 5 rounds in the tournament?
So that I do not know, but I believe so. I can't confirm it though, but I do believe they're all 5-round fights. But that's probably something we'll have a better answer on next week. No?
All 5 rounds?
Are they all 3 rounds? Except for the championship
No,
fight?
Nemkov would have to fight 5.
Yeah, Nemkov has to fight 5 as a champion, but the rest are 3 rounds. Do you know, Julius?
They are 5 rounds. Every fight's 5 rounds.
I would expect them to be all 3 because they are.
Yeah, but because it's the tournament, like they're doing with the Bellator featherweight tournament, it's the same. It's just the same format. They're just gonna do 5 rounds every fight.
That's good information for all of us to have for different reasons.
Yeah. And that will prepare them in the future when they have to step up and fight. Or Bellator main events aren't all 5 rounds though.
No,
it's only a UFC thing. But in the future, that might happen.
This is Bellatoring a little bit, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
You know,
just make up the rules on the spot.
Yeah. Sometimes they do not promote people's fights till the week before. Or they decide to just make them all 5 rounds and not even let the competitors know. So, you know, Bellator is the wild, wild west a little bit. We're going to move on to the next fight here. But right now we got 2 taking Bader and Julius and Brandon. I'm taking Machida. Give me the wily dog here. Next fight we're going to break down is Corey. Now it's not 25-8 anymore. It's overtime Anderson. He changed his name from 25-8, which is instead of 24-7. Get it? And he's taking on Dovetsson Yasha Miradov. This is the guy who everybody had to look up in the Bellator tournament when he was announced to it. But this guy is actually very exciting. I've had a good time researching the Turkmenistan fighter. Yeah, he's the smallest guy in the tournament. So I want to start out right there. He could make 170, honestly. If he really like, I mean, he is not a 205er, but his advantages, I mean, he's very, very quick. He's got good KO power, carries it through out his fights. He's a little bit one-dimensional. This is where I kind of get into some of these more one-dimensional fighters. He's much more of a kickboxer, boxer overall. He's going up against one of the better wrestlers in this tournament, and Corey Anderson. Corey Anderson's been in there with a ton of really good guys. I was at his knockout of Johnny Walker. Very impressive knockout there. He beat Melvin Manhoef, which, okay. Like, I mean, good for him, but like Melvin Manhoef in 2020 is at light heavyweight is all sorts of, again, Bellator is going to Bellator. And yeah, it's just with Davidson, I think he has the KO power. I really do. I just don't know if he has the wrestling. Like, if he keeps us on the feet, I think that he can knock out Corey Anderson and really piece him up potentially. But I just don't know if he has the wrestling to defeat the second or best wrestler in this tournament in Corey Anderson. So I'm really tempted to go with Davidson. I've liked what I've seen. He's got a quick knockout over the only like known competitor that I know of on his record, and Joaquin Christensen knocked him out in a minute. I mean, he looked really good, but it's just not enough. Corey Anderson, one of the bigger light heavyweights in this tournament, and Davidson, one of the smaller. And I just think it's Corey Anderson rinse repeat with the wrestling. I don't think there's much more to it than that. Yeah. We'll go with Julius and we'll end with Brandon here. So Julius, what are your thoughts on Corey Anderson and Davidson Yashamiradov? Davidson is what I call him.
Julius, what are your thoughts on Corey Anderson's fight?
Yeah, and having a little bit of trouble. So, okay, go.
Yeah, we got a little trouble. Little. I want to say Corey would win, just because of wrestling. I didn't get to research the guy more. I looked him in just a little bit, but not too much. So I don't know much about it. But I mean, Corey, I've seen him fight. He's been everywhere, so I just got to give it for Corey, and I think he's going to keep it safe. He's just going to do the same thing what he did too.
Yeah. If he has the right game plan,
fight,
if he implements the right game,
took him down and beat him up. So I think it's going to be the same idea. Just why?
Yeah, this isn't the Contender Series where you have
fights to go through.
Yeah.
So just if you can make it easy, just make it easy, because you got tougher later. Right.
Totally agree.
Yep. They want to have this done by October too, so it's like there's going to be a
if you can win, you got to stay healthy, don't take damage. Yeah. So
he's a veteran.
I feel he's.
Go ahead.
Take him down and beat it.
Yeah. And Brandon, go ahead and finish us out with any thoughts.
Yeah, just Corey Anderson, UFC vet. He has the most takedowns landed in the UFC light heavyweight history, actually. So he knows what his bread and butter is. He's going to stick to it, in my opinion. He comes from a great camp with a lot of Russians, actually. I think he trains with, doesn't he train with Zabit and Magomedov with Mark Henry?
Yep.
And Frankie Edgar. So he has just a wealth of knowledge in his corner. I've never seen this Russian fight. I've heard good things. I know he has a loss to Magomed Ankalaev. who fights in the UFC, who is a very well-rounded fighter. So yeah, I haven't dug really deep into this fight yet. I'm still gonna do the research when fight week comes around. Yeah, but my early thoughts are Corey Anderson, 5-round fight. He's gonna do what he did to Melvin Manhoff. Maybe test his striking out. If he gets in trouble, he's gonna go to what he's best at and grab the double leg, take him down. But Russians are so good at grappling. They go to school for this stuff. They go to they in high school you can have a class for grappling. So you can't count this Russian out. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this fight as well.
Yeah. So we're all on Corey Anderson here. We're
it's an unknown. It's just an unknown.
It's an unknown, but an unknown who opened as a favorite. That's the interesting part.
Wow.
Davidson opened as the favorite. He isn't anymore. He's not anymore. It's -1, I believe -160. But let me confirm that real quick. This is obviously very early odds because this fight's not for a little bit. But yeah, I mean, Corey Anderson is a -165 favorite, +145 for Davidson. I still love that price for Corey Anderson because of the predictability of what his game plan is here. And he's shown the ability to do this against, I think, higher level opponents, bigger guys. Davidson, again, middleweight, could be a welterweight if he really tortured himself. And
Davidson, this is his Bellator debut.
Yeah, he hasn't fought since 2019. So that's another definite question mark here. Just overall, too many questions. And for me, a -165 price is right on Corey Anderson. Essentially,
Julius should have been fighting Corey Anderson in this tournament. Why is this guy coming in, has not fought in Bellator before, and getting this shot? Julius, we should be talking about Julius Anglickas versus Corey Anderson right now, in my opinion.
And I would have loved to see that fight because those two can wrestle. And then he's getting into a striking bout, and I don't think he would like it very much.
No, no. Drag him into deep waters.
Yeah, man. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Julius,
it might be an amateur matchup.
Any thoughts on that?
I'm each other eventually.
He's like, I'm not in a rush. I'm trying to get better for me right now.
And you got to fight next week. You got to focus on. Do you know what your opponent's name is next week?
Yeah, exactly.
He may not know his name, but he is giving him all the credit in the world and all the respect.
Yeah, I love that. I love how fighters do that. Like you can never treat an opponent like you're gonna breeze through them. You got to treat every opponent like John Jones or Francis Ngannou if you want to go far in this sport.
Right.
What's the next fight there, Aaron?
Well, we got the next fight. We got the one that has driven social media crazy. Everybody is all excited about this one. This one actually is taking place after the next one, which is Nemkov, and but I want to give the champion the respect of going last. So we're gonna break down Anthony Johnson and Yoel Romero, which isn't taking place now until May 7th. I said when this fight was announced, first and foremost, I do not believe this fight will ever happen. I believe one of these guys will not fight for some reason, whether it's Anthony Johnson, who hasn't fought in MMA since 2016 and still finds ways to have weight issues still. So there's that possibility. And then there's Yoel Romero. Like either one of these guys pulling out whenever they do wouldn't shock me. But they're still on for right now. It's gotten just pushed back, not canceled. So that's good. Yoel Romero and Anthony Johnson, I think this is an interesting one. Just from a pure spectacle standpoint, but I think the fight itself might be pretty boring, if I'm being honest with you. Anthony Johnson hasn't fought since 2017 when he basically went in and gave up against Daniel Cormier. I mean, you know, I get it's Daniel Cormier, but he really did not go in seeming to want to win at all. And then he kind of just left the sport for a while, did some grappling competitions, lost all of those grappling competitions. including to Ryan Bader, but that was an escape in overtime, so I don't really worry about that too much. But yeah, it's just one of these things that, I mean, Anthony Johnson, I think it's kind of one rounder done, and I kind of think the same thing for Yoel Romero, and I also think both guys are aware of that, and as a result, we might just see a Derek Lewis and Ngannou type of fight where it's two guys afraid to really push the other one, step on it. Both these guys are advanced in their careers, and I get every fighter's hungry, but I question the hunger of Anthony Johnson or Yoel Romero at this point in their careers, that they'd be willing to be potentially put unconscious to put their opponent unconscious. So I'm not that excited about this fight, if I'm being honest. This is my least exciting of the 4 first-round matchups. I think that these guys just are going to kind of cancel each other out, and it's going to be a disappointing decision. And I'll go with Yoel Romero just because I think he has the ability to possibly, control this up against the cage a little more, possibly use his alleged wrestling that I haven't seen in I don't know how long, but he's supposed to be a wrestler, I've been told. Yoel Romero, like, Cuban wrestler. Maybe eventually it comes out again. I don't know. I'll go with Yoel Romero. But I think it's a decision. I don't think this is the fireworks that everybody pinned it at in social media. And I believe one of these guys will pull out before the fight.
Yeah, you're a pessimistic.
With this one, I am.
Pessimistic.
With this one, I am, yes.
Yeah, I was the same way when I first found out this fight was announced. I wasn't sure if it was even gonna play out. Like, I'm not gonna get excited until the day of the fight, and it's like 2 hours. Even if it's 2 hours before the fight, I'm still not even gonna be sure if they're gonna fight, because you just never know these days. But yeah, I like the matchup. I do think it's one of the best matchups on the tournament, but I can see why you might think it's a staring contest.
Yeah.
So they have 5 rounds to work with.
They're both going to be afraid of gassing. They're both going to be afraid of gassing too. With 5 rounds looming over their head, they're both going to be like, "Yo, we gotta." Like, I'm telling you, this is not.
Yeah, Yoel's 46 or 45
on his birth certificate. He's
yeah. We need some proof of that. And Anthony Johnson, I haven't seen him fight in MMA in a minute. You know what I mean?
He started
BKFC and submission grappling contests I've seen him in.
And he started a weed company at one point that failed.
Yeah, he bellied under in that franchise.
And now he's got.
What do you think, Julius? What do you think of this matchup? Has he been frozen the whole time?
He's there, I think.
Okay.
No, it's been choppy. Yeah, I would have to go with Yoel, just because he's been more active and competing, even though like last few fights were kind of more slowish. He's like training.
So we got Julius with Yoel.
I mean, his last fight was. I don't think he'll have to play as safe versus Rumble. Like,
yeah, and there's $1 million on the line here too. Like, there's a lot at stake. That's why I think it might be a staring contest, because there's so much on the line. Neither of them are going to want to take that chance of going in first and getting caught with a counter or a flying knee, a big right hand. Either of them, one shot is all they need. That's it. I really hope for fireworks, but you never know.
Yeah, I think
right. But Yoel is just energy. Anthony. Yeah. Have to go with Yoel on this one.
Yep. So we're all on the same page here.
I'll be right back, Aaron.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you again, Julius, for working with us through this through the choppiness here. Like, really appreciate it. It's funny because you're so like deadpanned anyways that half the time we couldn't tell if you're frozen or if it's just your face. And it's like, that's kind of probably what opponents feel when they face you too. Like at some points they're like, is he even feeling these punches?
Frozen
Or
or
is
not.
like,
Yeah,
I love it though,
yeah, I'm
man.
trying to like listen. Yeah.
It's all good, dude. You know, at the end of the day, our audience gets that, you know, there's moments where it can't be perfect. The fact that you're still willing to work through this with us is commendable. So thank you very much. First and foremost, when you get that message in like 10 seconds. But you know, we got one more fight on the Grand Prix.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And we'll wait for, you know, and I'll tee it up here and we'll keep going. But it's Vadim Nemkov, 13-2, taking on Phil Davis. I mean, first of all, Nemkov not getting any favors here as the champion in the Grand Prix, having to face Phil Davis in the first round. That's brutal. That is brutal, man. Like, I don't know why they don't seem to like Nemkov, but that matchup makes me think they kind of want the champion upset early in this because I get that Nemkov has faced Phil Davis, but it was a split decision. It was a really close split decision as well. Phil Davis, one of the best wrestlers in all of Bellator, one of the biggest light heavyweights as well. But Nemkov coming off a really impressive title-winning performance over Ryan Bader. And Nemkov, I said this before, Nemkov is the fighter that, Julius, you remind me of most in this tournament. It's a guy who he takes it everywhere. He comes forward, puts up pressure. And if you want to be like anybody in this tournament, I would think it's the champion. So that's a pretty good comparison, let alone you guys are both crazy, scary European fighters. There's a lot of similarities between you and the champion here. You know, and I do mean that with all due respect. But yeah, I mean, I like Phil Davis a lot. I like how he's looked so far in Bellator. I think that he had a split decision loss to Ryan Bader, a split decision loss to Nemkov, and yeah, those are his only losses in Bellator, 2 splits. So he could be walking in this fight as the champion very easily. Yeah, he's been in there with Nemkov before. I think this is going to be another close fight with these two. And honestly, I'm leaning towards Phil Davis. Phil Davis, without spoiling the rest of the breakdown here, Phil Davis might be my pick to win this tournament, Grand Prix overall. I think Phil Davis has a real shot. Whoever comes out of this matchup, I think, should be the overwhelming favorite to win this tournament. So I was saying before you left, Brandon, or when you left, I was saying how this is a tough draw for Nemkov as the champion in the first round of the Grand Prix to get a guy he went to a split decision against in Phil Davis, a guy who, you know, was at one point right there with John Jones as who's the prospect here, who's gonna take over. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, and he's still a very legitimate fighter. It's still only still out 36, which is actually a little older than I expected. Yeah. I didn't realize he was that old.
That's why I looked up right away is his age.
Yeah, that's interesting. So again, like that gives me a little bit of hesitancy here. I'm gonna go with Nemkov, but barely. I really am tempted to go with the upset in Phil Davis. I really like his wrestling. He's the longer, bigger guy, but Nemkov not cutting as much weight is, I think, a huge advantage for his overall game. Him being able to take this and being able to finish it throughout the fight and push it as it gets into the later rounds. He's been in there for 3 rounds already with Phil Davis. I'm going to go Nemkov and maybe a 3rd or 4th round finish for Nemkov. Again, whoever wins this has to be the favorite in the Grand Prix overall.
I agree. This is such a good fight, man. Like the first one, arguably Phil Davis did win. I watched that not too long ago, and I thought Phil Davis should have probably got the nod in that fight. This is 5 rounds this time. It could go all 5. Who knows? Mm-hmm. Phil Davis isn't the one to go out there and land one punch and knock you out. He's the type of fighter who wants to get into the later rounds and test your will, grind you out, wrestle you, take you down at will. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And this is this is a good. Yeah, I agree with you, Aaron. Like whoever wins this fight is probably going to be the world champion. And as this tournament goes on, Vadim Nemkov is actually tallying up title defenses here. So if he beats Phil Davis, that is a successful title defense, just like with Patricio Pitbull in the featherweight Grand Prix. So yeah, there's a lot's on the line here. I'm gonna go Vadim. Like he's 28, he's undefeated, he's a phenom. He looks better every fight. Phil Davis, if anything, he's gonna lose a step or two at this point. He's getting up there in age. I like Vadim to win again more convincingly this time around. What do you think, Julius?
This is the only fight that I'm like right at the middle.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. I guess like I would have to like go with the champion. Just I'm sure he's a little bit hungrier than Phil Davis. But this one I'm like 50-50. I would not be surprised about Phil Davis pulling it off. Would not be surprised at all. But put it on the champion. Just again, yeah, younger, a little bit smaller, 5 rounds. Cardio might be better. He's a little bit hungrier, so yeah, I have to go with the champion. But this one is the closest one for me. Like this one is definitely the one one of them could win. I feel
Definitely.
Yeah, I think it's the closest, and I think it's the best fight of the openers. Again, with Anthony Johnson, and I didn't go to the odds, but Anthony Johnson and Yoel is currently a -110 each way. The odds makers have as little idea as everybody else. And then interestingly enough, I am glad to see this, but yeah, Nemkov is getting respect from the odds makers. -190 favorite. So almost probably a -200 by the time this rolls around. Phil Davis you can find him at +165, +130. It's kind of all over the place. He will be the underdog, 36 years old to 28. I think the 28 year, 28, 29, that's just entering your prime. Julius happens to be 29. It's just saying. So, look at big things coming there as well. But yeah, I think that's just going to kind of wrap up for now our Grand Prix tournament preview here. What we're going to do after these 4 matchups are together is we're going to get Julius back here and see if maybe he's part of this tournament, for one. For 2, if we can get him in a little better of a situation for his audio and internet. And we're going to continue this.
Yeah.
We're going to continue this in part 2. But I actually think this is a really good setup for part 1. Overall, we, for the most part, agreed on these fights. I was really glad to have Julius on after getting this fight just announced as well. Me and Brandon will be breaking down Julius's card next week. It is Julius's card now. So we'll be. I'm
expecting Julius to be about a -600 favorite. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
you're gonna have to pay the juice.
Yeah, we're not making money off Julius this fight. We're gonna have to wait one more fight here because
if I was a millionaire, I would make money off him. But
hey, the last 3 fights have been just fine for me. But seriously, Julius, coming on when you have a huge fight camp going on and everything coming up. Every fight camp is huge. We get that. But me and Brandon, we're just 2 lowly MMA podcasters who love the sport, and we're just trying to make our print in it. And we were so happy to have you on and get to talk to you and get confused at whether you were frozen or it was just your face because you're terrifying. But you're a great dude, and I can't wait to talk to you further, in smoother streams as we go on. But yeah, anything you got to say before we sign off, Mr. Anglickas?
Yeah. It definitely been a bit choppy road, but it's good.
Yeah, dude. Honestly,
I appreciate you guys for having me here. It was little choppy, but yeah, it was completely
Choppy.
fine. I had fun, and yeah, I would definitely love to be back on, and hopefully I'm in a tournament, and we can, yeah, once I'm back, we'll get to discuss about that.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait to have you on and, get to talk with you further. But it was great to have you on. This is first of many here. They're just building our little stable of the fighters who, got a place in the dog's heart here. So we got Brian Pooh Bear Battle. We got Julian Robertson. We got Julius Anglickas. So it's an exclusive, my heart is very, very, picky on who they choose. So congratulations on making the club you never thought you wanted to be in. But I got your back for life, buddy. Thank you again for coming on. MMA Wagers, Brandon, you know him. Follow him over on Instagram, on Facebook. He's having some Facebook Messenger issues right now, but follow him either way. And we're gonna be back maybe at the top of the hour with our Bellator breakdown. We'll figure out. But yeah, we're gonna be back at 5:00 Eastern time to break down a banger of a Bellator card going down on Friday night. We got the ONE FC card tonight. We got the UFC breakdown tomorrow. So breakdown. Let's go. It don't stop. Keep making that money. Julius, all the best.
Thank you, Julius.
And we'll talk soon. But for Aaron the Dog, for MMA Wagers, Brandon, and for Julius Anglickas, the Lithuanian Terminator. We're going to see if we can get that to be his nickname. I'm just going to keep saying it. And, LT. Salute, my friend. Everybody keep taking care of each other out there. Thank you all for joining, and we will see you soon. Peace out.